What else is there to say from the Monday game for the Carolina Hurricanes? Brandon Bussi with an absolute masterclass. Save of the Year candidate already locked up. We're going to talk about that and so much more on a Tuesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. I'm your host, Zach Martin, the credentialed Carolina Hurricanes beat writer over at the Hockey Writers, also the co-host of the Surgecast, which is a weekly Carolina Hurricanes podcast, along with all my duties here at Locked On Hurricanes. On today's show, we're going to be going over what really stood out from the Hurricanes' 2-1 win over the Buffalo Sabres on Kids Day, which was also Martin Luther King Day for the 1:30 p.m. start. And obviously, we're going to have to be talking about Brandon Bussi and the absolute master class of saves. And is most importantly the one on Tage Thompson, because he basically gave him nightmares for the next who knows how long with all the saves he made. Gonna listen to him and his reaction post game, and also we're going to hear from Rod Brind'Amour as well later on in the show. But my absolute goodness, thankfully I was able to get down to the game first time this regular season with the schedule being all over the place for me to get up there. Finally did. And what a game for me to finally get back to Lenovo Center for the first time in the regular season. It's this one on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and it's Kids Day, and Brandon Bussi just absolutely steals one for the Carolina Hurricanes. Win 2-1, and yeah, Rasmus Dahlin scores pretty quick in the game. He was a big piece of things getting pretty tense between him and Andrei Svechnikov, especially with the fact that Dahlin takes out Eric Robinson, extra hit after a whistle following a save, on the Buffalo side of the ice. Later on, Andrei Svechnikov kind of hits him high, gets a roughing penalty, and then Dahlin hits Svechnikov in the second period, takes a swipe at him while he's down, and then they get into a whole other scrap, and then Svech gets a roughing penalty when he hits him before the whistle starts. It was a whole thing between Dahlin and Svechnikov and the entire team. Even Jason Zucker at one point tried to get in it with Svechnikov and Aho, but you can definitely tell these teams don't like each other, and it always seems like it's Dahlin. There's always in the middle something with the Canes, because we all remember how just Barry Kotkaniemi just dropped him on a one-shot, a couple of seasons back. But it was a pretty tense game, and like I said, Dahlin was the first one to score for Buffalo, but then after that, the Hurricanes just somehow miraculously locked it in for the rest of the game. I mean, they held Buffalo to 18 shots the entire game. They scored one of their 3 shots in the first, 8 in the second, 7 in the third. But the Hurricanes were able to lock it down, 29 shots. Andrei Svechnikov, later in the period, scores on a backdoor pass from Sebastian Aho. That's his 5th goal in 3 games. Just on an absolute tear right now. 17 on the season. Sebastian Aho, 34 points. And those two just keep on rolling. And then later on, you get Seth Jarvis on the power play. And the power play has been on an absolute tear as well for the Carolina Hurricanes. His 22nd of the season, and Svech and Aho with the assists. Sebastian Aho in the last 3 games, 7 points, all assists. He's been on an absolute run with the Apples as of late. Of course, multi-point game for him, multi-point game for Andrei Svechnikov. He's got 7 points in his last 3 games as well. I'm talking about the penalty kill. Only one real penalty to the Hurricanes where the Sabres had a power play, and that was after that was later on when it was Andrei Svechnikov roughing on Dahlin. After that was a lot of coincidental minors and stuff like that. But PK went 1 for 1. Great job there. Power play. Hey, you didn't really get a lot of opportunities. You cashed in with Seth Jarvis, and now the Hurricanes sit 12th in the NHL with a 21.9%, 33 for 151. This is crazy to think about for a team that was dead last at one point with like 7.6%, and now they're all the way up to 21.9, 12th place. I mean, the Kraken at 23.4, Minnesota is at 23.2, and those are the two teams ahead of them in 10th and 11th. But the fact of where the Hurricanes are at, climbing from 32 to 12 since December 5th is huge. But the man of the game was Brandon Bussi. Like, let's be honest. Like, he has to be in Tage Thompson's walls. Like, he's got to be his Freddy Krueger right now, because you're talking at least 3-4 saves that he had on Thompson alone, not even including the fact that he robbed a lot of other saves. He basically ate Thompson's lunch this entire time. I mean, he had one off his head. He had one where he stuck his leg out to beat him on a deke that Thompson tried to power move across the crease on. But in the save that everyone's talking about, this is the one where even TNT was shocked that he saved this. And I think this is by far hands down the save of the year. I don't really care if anyone else tries to make a huge save. It's going to be pretty tough to beat Brandon Bussi's, because Hurricanes turn it over. You think it's going to be a 3-on-1. Somehow Buffalo had two guys cheating by their blue line, got in there on a 2-on-0, and Thompson makes the initial pass. Bussi's ready for it, but you can see the play developing. Like, I'm in the press box, I'm looking down, I'm seeing the initial pass by Thompson to go to the other side. I'm like, oh, this is a setup. They're going to shoot it right back to Thompson on a touch pass, and he's going to have a whole net open. And sure enough, touch pass right back to Thompson. He's all alone. Goal is wide open. I'm like, Brandon Bussi's going to have to make a Dominik Hasek-esque wonder save, because he, like, no pads. He's going to have to throw his glove up. This is the only thing that's going to stop this puck, because this is going to go in point blank, no problem. All of a sudden, he just sticks his hand up, and somehow it's right in the path of the entire goal that's open. Tage Thompson shoots it right into the glove. And if everyone was watching on the TNT broadcast, I heard it later on after the game, and even TNT thought that the puck went. He goes, "Oh, Thompson scored. Wait, he saved." Yeah, they were even through the goal graphic up. Then like, wait, did Bussi save that? And they're like, yeah, he did. And you see the replay, and it's like, oh my goodness! Like, all of us on press row were just like, what? He saved that? Like, that's how insane it was. And thing for me is, I sit in front of the visitors broadcast. The guys who do the radio side of things, the guys who were doing radio for Buffalo, even they were shocked. Like, they couldn't believe that he saved it. Like, that's how crazy the save is, that he completely fooled TNT thinking that it was a goal. He said it was a goal call. Threw the goal graphic up. The Sabres radio team was absolutely shocked. They're like, there's no way he saved that, and he did. And you see the replay, and just Thompson throwing his head up. You see Miller losing his mind. And you see Seth Jarvis just going like, oh my gosh, like the whole bench is losing it. Like, even the crowd was shocked. Like, you just hear everyone just roar to life when they're like, oh my gosh, he saved it. Like, that's how insane this save was. Yeah, Brandon Bussi, like I said, 18 wins in his first 22 starts. This guy is the first goalie to ever do this. Like, whatever run, this is, and Henrik Lundqvist said it best, this is not a fluke. This is a really good goal. And the fact that he talked to Brandon Bussi after the game and getting some high praise from a player that was his favorite growing up. Like, Brandon Bussi was a big Henrik Lundqvist fan, and to get praise from him is fantastic to see. But Brandon Bussi is the first goalie to get 18 wins in his first 22 starts. Like, this is a hockey god run of all hockey god runs. Like, I've never seen a guy become a hometown, a favorite within the fan base as quickly as Brandon Bussi has. And to do it on the level where he's won 18 of his first 22 games, like, his save percentage is absolutely insane from this game, but just overall for what he's done for the Hurricanes. Like, you're talking about a guy who had a .944 save percentage, 17 saves on 18 shots. In his last 5 games, you're talking about a guy who's won 4 out of the last 5, and the one loss was in that 3-0 shutout to the Blues. But for the season overall, 18-3-1, a 2.20 goals against, a .906 save percentage, has a shutout and an assist. I like Freddie a lot. I think Brandon Bussi has really cemented himself as the number one guy for the Hurricanes. And the thing is, like, he's only signed through this season. He's eligible to get an extension. if I'm Carolina, I am finding out what is the best case scenario to lock him up, because you got Kochekov coming back next season, the last year of his deal. The goalie market is very questionable going into the offseason, into 26-27. I think right now you roll with Bussi and Kochekov next season. You got Amir Miftakov. You bring back Kane Primo on maybe on a 1-year 2-way or a 2-year 2-way, however you want to play it out. If you want to keep him as your third goalie, you keep Primo as your third. You got Kochekov coming back for one more season on his current deal. I say you have to extend Bussi. I don't know how you don't with this run that he's on. This is that you have to figure this out. You have to, because this is a season to where I don't know. Who knows if we're going to see a start like this to occur where a guy is 27 comes in and absolutely starts winning games on a consistent basis and making saves like this too. Like we are seeing an unprecedented run of a goalie in his first year after playing this, 4 years with the Providence Bruins, never getting an AHL start, signs with Florida, gets picked up off of waivers, and now comes in and is a fan favorite. And we're not even to the Olympic break yet. That's how great this guy is. At this point, extend him. There's no point of waiting this out and see where it goes from here. You have to. We've been talking about Brandon Bussi a lot the last part of this segment. Let's hear from the guy himself. So stick around and we'll listen to Brandon Bussi here in a second on a Tuesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. There's nothing like being near the ice during a hockey season. The speed, the hits, the atmosphere, it's unmatched. Watching at home is great, but being in the building is a completely different experience. And if you were at that Hurricanes game on Monday, you definitely know what it means being in that arena for that type of game. The only thing that used to get in the way was actually getting tickets. The long queues, endless screens, and price changes at checkout. That's why the Game Time app gives the advantage back to fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing NHL tickets and experiences in just a few taps. The zone deals are clutch. You choose the section, Game Time picks the seats for you, and you save even more. How much more? Well, you're seeing tickets available for as low as $25 makes it easy to plan a game night. Knowing tickets are backed by the Game Time guarantee gives real peace of mind. So take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen today, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. It's an access to an ad-free audio feed of Locked On Hurricanes, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. It's an invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of this show and other shows within the network. So tap the link in the show notes or the description below to learn more and sign up today. Now, welcome back to segment 2 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. We talked about Brandon Bussi a lot at the end of segment 1, so let's just jump into the postgame with Brandon Bussi right now.
You want to start with the save on Thompson. What is, first of all, it's going across and it could come back. But when you make a save like that, does it get you even more dialed in a game than you would be otherwise?
Maybe a little. I hadn't seen a lot of work up to that point. That might have been the 4th or 5th shot. So, I felt good prior to that, but I think it gave the arena, our team, myself a little bit of extra juice. Granted, I thought we played really, really well today. I think for pretty close to 60 minutes, we were playing our game and kind of limiting their chances for the most part.
Did someone tell you before the game, Tage Thompson just got named first star of the week? You were like, I gotta kind of knock it off.
Me and Tage go back. I played a year youth hockey with him. So, I guess when you see a name like that and the season he's having and the accolades and his ability to put the puck in the net, you just kind of have to keep an eye out when he's on the ice, So, but it felt good to come up with some saves and our defense overall kind of limiting, his looks.
What were those final seconds like for the goal?
Keep the puck out of the net no matter what, find a way. So I think we had a lot of sacrifice there, a lot of block shots. Our team willing to do whatever it takes to win.
when you get the second goal from Jarvis, does that help you play a little more free?
Yeah, the more goals you get, the more free you can play. It's the NHL. There's going to be a lot of tight games. We need to be ready to play in those tight moments and see how we respond as a group. So good response today.
We've come to you after a lot of home wins here and asked a variation of this question, but is this starting to feel normal, being here, playing regularly, picking up
I'll
wins?
be frank with you. It'll never feel normal. I think this is what, you dream about your whole life. And, I think that's a good thing for me. It doesn't mean that, the lifestyle is not normal, but, I'm fortunate to be able to do what I do for a living and being able to hear the crowd cheer us on, cheer me on. It's very cool. And I don't think I'm a person that ever takes that for granted. So.
A lot of people, especially on telecast, and that was your best save of the year. And, was it your best save of the year?
The next one.
How much does it help? The power play's been clicking now for a little bit, just to see them converting in key situations. That's a tight game the whole way, and for the power play to come through when they didn't get any.
Yeah, I think, you see it as we kind of hit the final stretch. Obviously we had the Olympic break and stuff, but 5-on-5 is going to get tighter and tighter, and then special teams can be what makes or breaks you. It's been really reassuring to see our power play kind of clicking. I felt confident in them the whole time, even when it wasn't going in, but it's nice to see them get rewarded, that's for sure.
Glad to be a lefty today.
Every day, I'm proud of it. I'm a small union, so I got to stay strong.
Big thank you to Brandon Bussi and the Carolina Hurricanes. And I think this is another reason why he is such a fan favorite, just from the fact that he's so humble and the fact that it's he makes a big save like that on Thompson, the guy who played youth hockey with for a year, and he's just and they're like, what? And it's just the big save, he goes, whatever the next one is. He knows he made a huge save, but it's just yeah, whatever the next big one comes up. And the fact that he's someone and they're is it, being more normal to you now? And for him, it's I don't think it's ever going to be normal. It's maybe at some point, what will you do? You kind of get a routine starts being normal, but he's someone that he's I'm not going to take it for granted. I think that's what's so great about Brandon Bussi is the fact that he's so humble in what he's done already. And the fact that he's not letting it get to him. It's just, okay, making that next save, making it, keeping the team in, get that next win. And for him, it's just about the team. It's nothing about what he's done. It's what the team has done. And he's not taking the moments for granted and finding ways to get the job done and help the team win and get the fans going and stuff like that. It makes you feel really good to see the fact that you have a guy in Brandon Bussi who is not afraid just to be I'm just here to enjoy the run, point and blank, and just, whatever it takes to help the team win, and even making huge saves. And, he's got to hold the fort down strong for the lefty goalies because there's not a lot of them in the league. And I just, just being able to, seeing, if anyone watched the post game, or, watch any of the videos that come out through the interview and just seeing how happy and smiling he is, and just, hearing him talk, it gives a sense of this guy will never let the moment be too big for him. He's always going to find a way to keep staying in the moment, calm, cool, collected, and just doing what he does. The path that he's went on to go from USHL, go to college, goes undrafted, signs by the Boston Bruins to play in Providence, doesn't get any chance in the National Hockey League. And now you're talking signs with another team, gets picked up right after training camp, and now has 18 wins in his first 22 starts, makes the save of the year, talks to the goalie that he grew up idolizing in Henrik Lundqvist, makes the save of the year candidate. It's just the run he's been on, and just hearing him talk about it, it's just crazy. Where he's at right now, and you just got to feel excited for the guy. Who knows how long this run lasts? At this point, 18 wins in 22 games. I don't know how you top this. I don't think this is going to be, if he keeps winning, if he gets to 20 wins in his first 24 starts, I don't think that's ever going to be touched. And I know that's speaking really highly. That's this could happen eventually down the road, but as of now, I don't see any other goalie touching 20 wins in their first 24 starts if he gets there. If he does, that'll be crazy. Like I said before in segment 1, you got to find a way to extend him. This guy he's become too important for the Hurricanes. It wasn't, with Kochetkov out, Freeze won a couple of games as a late, but even then he was struggling. Like, if it wasn't for Brandon Bussi, who knows where this team would be at right now if it wasn't him in the net doing what he does. Like, his 18 wins and his 1 shutout loss has put him into a spot where he's gotten 37 points for the Hurricanes. That's crazy to think about. 37 points out of this guy already. You love to see it. You love to see it. All right, so we heard from Brandon Bussi post-game, but what did Rod Brind'Amour say after the game? Well, stick around and listen to that on a Tuesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Welcome back to segment 3 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. All right, so we heard from Brandon Bussi, so let's jump into what Rod Brind'Amour said after the game right now.
I don't know how many variations we can ask you about Brandon Bussi, just what he's meant to your team and the performance tonight, probably his best, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, just based on a couple of the saves that he made. Again, it wasn't like, for a couple of periods, it wasn't like there was a ton of opportunities, but they were all like, that could be the difference. That could be the difference. And he, obviously, the one on the penalty kill where, we pressed up and 2-on-0 in front, and he bails us out. Very special because the other guy was playing good too. I mean, their goalie made some good saves too, so it was kind of a battle there in the net, and obviously our guy came out on top.
Looks like Robinson got injured.
Yeah.
Pretty bad. Was it a bad injury?
Yeah. I don't know the extent. I mean, he's going to be out for sure for a little while. I think he's got to get checked out again tomorrow, but obviously he couldn't return, so yeah, that's not good. And I don't know, Stanks got hurt and he was able to come back, so that's good. So I guess we'll know more again tomorrow with him.
I will ask another Bussi question. We had a conversation not too long ago about guys who come in your room, and you said you never assume the guy is only going to be up for a game. I'm just thinking, I asked him just a moment ago, is this starting to feel normal? And he says, frankly, no. And it kind of reminded me of what you said about you never know. A guy can come in your room. You're starting to realize this is a guy who's going to beat you.
Yeah, well, I think, number one, any pro, really, you never get comfortable. And I think that's, if you're good, that means you're always going to be trying to prove your worth every day that you are in this league and certainly in our locker room. So I think that's what he's referring to. And that's what we want. And so obviously your play has to back up your attitude, but he's got a great one, and we're thrilled to have him.
Andrei Svechnikov's got 5 goals and 7 points in his last 3 games. How big is it to have him rolling at this time right now through this season and hopefully carrying the playoffs for you guys?
Well, if he's on the top line, you got to score. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what has to happen. Those guys got to connect. I mean, I didn't love the penalty at the end. I mean, I don't know much of penalty, but it certainly put us in a jam or there. But yeah, we need him to be impactful, and he was certainly tonight.
Another Bussi question: did you think Thompson had scored on that play? Everybody in the arena seemed to think so for a second.
Which one? Because I counted 3 for Thompson that should have scored, and
the glove save where he just.
Well, you see it. Unfortunately, when you've been around hockey long enough, and you know exactly what's happening. We almost get a turnover, and everyone's going the other way because we're going to get a 3-on-1, and they got 2 guys hanging out, and then you see the play develop. It's going to go right back there. And I mean, he dove across, made a huge save. So, save of the game for sure, and maybe the year. Tough to see a better save than that.
Afternoon games can always be a little weird. They get the early one. What do you like most about the way your team responded?
Well, I mean, I thought we had a good first period. It's probably our best period, and we gave them one, but it wasn't really giving one. I mean, they make good plays. Their D's are maybe the best D in the league as a whole group. I mean, the way they skate and they get up the ice, and that's what happened. They beat us up the ice and rip a shot in the net. But other than that, I thought we did a pretty good job in the first period. So. Yeah, I mean, it was a hard-fought game. I mean, both teams played well.
You got sick of us asking about the power play earlier in the year. Tonight, you get the goal when you need it, and when you didn't get many opportunities to do it.
No, we've kind of been in a little bit of a spell where we're not getting a ton of chances here the last couple of games, but it doesn't matter. Like I always say, everyone looks at the percentages and this and that. Like every game is 0 for 0. Like that has to count now. I don't care what you've done in the past, good or bad. So tonight first one was that we got a couple opportunities, and then obviously we get our set. You win the draw clean, which that is the biggest part of any power play for me, because now you run the play you want, and we're able to connect. So yeah, we needed it tonight.
The team has been playing through a lot of adversity this whole season. Shots coming out of the lineup, you guys are still continuing to get the wins. What does it say for you and your coaching staff just to get these guys ready every single night to come out and play the roster?
I know I have the best staff in the league, preparing guys. I mean, that's never really ever been a question any game we've ever played, and so appreciate that with our group. I think we have great leadership that helps to drag the groundhog days that are going on here, and you gotta find a way to perform at your best every night. And that's what good players do, good teams do, elite teams do, and that's what we're trying to be.
Big thank you to Rod Brind'Amour and the Carolina Hurricanes. And you heard from the coach talk about, the fact that we were all laughing when they asked about Brandon Bussi making that save on Thompson. He's like, which one? Like, he made 3 or 4 of them, and he really did. But, and the fact that he's seen all those type of plays develop, and the fact that he saw that 2-on-none develop versus the Sabres, and he still found a way to make that save. It's just a crazy thing to see, and the fact that was a very big one. He stole a lot of saves in that game, stole the win for them, and the fact that, he even Rod said that has to be save of the year. Like, I don't know how you top that one. And, a lot of Brandon Bussi questions, talking about what was going on with that. Unfortunately, Eric Robinson did get hurt from the Rasmus Dahlin incident. Not sure how long that's going to be. That could be 2 weeks to 2 months. We're not sure how that's going to play out. The fact that you got, Jordan Martin looks like he took the stick or a puck to the face. He was down, he was able to come back out. Logan Stankoven, gets tripped by Owen Powers into the side of the Hurricanes net, holding his knee. He comes back somehow. It was a lot of crazy moments in that game. Even like Seth Jarvis took a clearing attempt puck to the face from Jalen Chatfield. Luckily, he still stayed on and got the power play goal. So the Hurricanes, unfortunately, lost Robinson. But, thankfully, no one else really got hurt. It sucks for Robbie because he's been playing really well, so hopefully it's not too bad. But you even heard me ask him a couple questions, too. I asked him about, Andrei Svechnikov, 5 goals and 7 points in his last 3 games. We're talking about a guy, and I even put a post on it before the game, where you're looking at where he's at on the season. Like, we are talking pre, ACL tear Andrei Svechnikov, and you guys heard me talk a little bit about it, on the other show too, is just where he is at overall. 17 goals, 42 points in 50 games. Like, if you even want to look back to last season, he had 20 goals and 48 points in 72 games, and he was a -8. He's already a +1. He's already 3 goals off from, and 3-point assist and 6 points off from tying last year's numbers. Like if you go back to his shortened season of 23-20, where he came back a little bit late in 23-24, got hurt again. No, he's already 10 points off of those numbers, and he did that in 59 games. But even if you want to go back to 22-23, before he got hurt, 55 points, 21-22, 69 points. Like, I think we're looking at a possible 55 to 65 point season for Andrei Svechnikov. Like, that's how good he's playing right now. And Rod said it. He's on the top line. He needs to score, and he's been contributing. He didn't really like the last penalty that was called on him because it really wasn't a penalty. It was clean right before the whistle. I'm not sure why that was called a roughing on him. It was a clean play there. And then, I asked him about the coaches because I don't think the coaching staff gets enough credit for what they do. Because, it's a lot to have these guys ready every night, because Rod's talked about it before. It's like you look at where, the condensed schedules on everyone, 3 games in 4 days. This past week, there was like 2 sets of back-to-backs in the same week for the Hurricanes. And, I asked him, like, what does it say about you and what does it say about your staff for the fact of what they've done? Because, everyone, it always comes on you as the head coach and stuff like that. And for me, it's just like, that's just how great the staff has been. And of course, the captains in the locker room, it helps get everyone going too. But it's been a big help for Rod and the Hurricanes, just being able to know that, with Jeff Daniels and Paul Schoenfelder and, Tim Gleason, all of those guys are still able to do what they need to do to get these guys ready, and they do. And even, Chris Hoffine, with the video stuff, it's just they are finding a ways to get the job done. I think the coaching staff has really made it a big thing for the Hurricanes to be where they're at. So you definitely love to see it. It was good to be able to get back to the arena for the first time this season. Thankfully, the schedule lined up perfectly, be able to go, cover the game in person, talk to the, guys afterwards, talk to the other beat writers and stuff like that, and get to ask Rod a couple questions, get his thoughts on some things. But overall, a great experience. Happy to be back there. Can't wait to get back to another one soon. And what a way to do that, though. First game of the regular season, and it's a Brandon Bussi masterclass. You love to see it, and hopefully the Canes keep rolling. I know they're off. They were off on Tuesday. They're back at it on Wednesday for practice, and then they have the Blackhawks coming to town on Thursday. Should be a good one for sure. But, guys, this will be the Tuesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Thank you for making it your first listen of the day. If you never miss an episode, the Everyday Club is built for you. Check out Locked On Hurricanes ad-free, plus a members-only Discord access and more. Click the link in the show notes or the description to learn more and sign up today. For those of you on video, please send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen AHL game night on Locked On AHL. If you want to keep up with me, I'm a one-true Zach on X. The podcast is LO_Hurricanes. I'm also on Blue Sky, the Zach Green Martin. Where if you click the link in my bio, you can find all my written content at thehockeywriters.com. If you want to check out my other podcast, which is the Surgecast, check out all podcast platforms and on YouTube. For Locked On Hurricanes, we're on Spotify, Google, Apple, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your podcast. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating and review. If you're on YouTube, it's Locked On Hurricanes. Subscribe, hit the bell notification so you don't miss the show. Hit the thumbs up to let me know if you like the show as well. Share with other Canucks to become everydayers just like you. Big thank you to everyone who's reached out with the congratulations on us hitting 1,700 subscribers. We're already at 1,710 since that thank you post for 1,700 went out a couple days ago. So thank you to everyone else who's been jumping on. This train's been rolling on this show. Hopefully we keep going for however long we can, because this is really fun covering your Carolina Hurricanes and talking about this 5 days a week. But hope everyone enjoyed the Tuesday episode of Locked On Hurricanes. Enjoy your Tuesday. And until next time, as always, let's go Canes.